everyone, PJ Rosch and Christine Smith here for the TLRD podcast for the Love of Dog weekly update.
It's already been another week.
I know, I can't even believe it. I think the first thing we want to start with was, we talked about this before, we will continue to talk about it, but Charlotte, one of our dogs that we have, she was in foster. Unfortunately, things have changed for her foster and she can no longer have Charlotte there. So we are desperate to find Charlotte a foster because she needs one by May 7th. So tell everybody about foster. Tell everybody about Charlotte.
Charlotte does need to be the only dog in the house, but she is cat friendly. She's currently living with a cat. She's easy to walk. She's great in the house trained, loves just lounging around. You can visit our website and see a video of Charlotte at our last event, which was just last weekend. So you can hear more about her, see what a great dog she is. She's very friendly, loves affection. Again, she does need to be the only dog in the house. So that's been a little bit tougher to find somebody, but we know you're out there and we just really hope that you see the plea and that you can apply to foster Charlotte, because we cannot send her back to boarding. She's been in a home. She's doing great. And we just don't want to see her progress back.
Yeah, in fact, she was in boarding for almost a year, maybe a little over a year when we took her out this last time. And she was pretty shut down. Like, it took her a while to reacclimate, to even understand that she could be in the house. So it's really sad when that happens, because when a dog has been in a home and then goes to boarding, it's way harder on them than they're coming out of the shelter and going into boarding. So like Christine said, please go to thelittlereddog.org. Under adoptable dogs, you can click on there and read all about Charlotte, view her videos and her pictures. And then there's another tab at the top that says forms. You can click there and fill out a foster application. And you will have our undying appreciation. So,
yes.
All right. What's next? What do you want to talk about next today?
I think one topic that people wonder about a lot is, what is the process of when you get a dog out of the shelter? What happens? Ideally, we have a foster lined up. So we have transporters or volunteers that will pick the dog up from the shelter once we put in all of our paperwork saying that we're going to pull the dog. If a dog has any medical needs, it may need to go straight to a vet to get examined or checked out. Sometimes we have dogs that are sick when they come out of the shelter. They may need to go into it's called quarantine at a vet office that basically keeps them separated from other animals while they're getting over like a upper respiratory infection or something that's, where they can't be around other dogs. So sometimes we have that situation, which again is where donations are greatly appreciated, because those sometimes they may need to stay a week, sometimes longer, until whatever sickness runs the course. If the dog's healthy, then if we have a foster lined up, the dog goes directly to the foster home. We do have a protocol for fosters. So a lot of our fosters that have worked with us before are already seasoned. They know what to do when the dog gets to the house. We really just want that dog to get acclimated into the house, getting used to a new routine, potty times, walk times, when to eat. If they have other dogs, we talk to them about proper introductions. And really, it's just keeping that dog, giving that dog a calm place to relax out of the shelter environment. I mean, it's a lot. Most of the time, they just sleep for the first couple days because they haven't slept at the shelter. It's so loud and so much activity going on. So seeing them after those couple days starting to come out of their shell is when we really start to learn more about the dog. So that's mainly the process. They usually come out of the shelter with their vaccines. Sometimes, again, if they're sick, they haven't been able to receive vaccines, so we'll get them a vet appointment. Sometimes if they need surgeries, then we get those appointments set up. But ideally, they're going straight from the shelter into a foster home. So that's kind of the process of what happens when a dog leaves the shelter.
Right. And just to build on that, so Christine said, we take a lot of medical dogs because a lot of the rescues won't or can't. But so often the dog does have to go right into surgery because they've been hit by a car or something and been sitting at the shelter for a while because, they've been sitting there because no one's rescuing them. And just to say, if kennel cough is like the best the dog can have, because we've had dogs with like ringworm or parasites that are contagious. So, or even, if you have like mange, Dermadex is the best because it's not contagious. But if they have the other one, it is contagious. So that can take like 6 weeks. So you have to really keep them separate. And most people don't want to take that on that because it can be transferred to humans. It's not a big deal. You can get treated for it very easily, but it takes a long time to get over it. So to Christine's point, when we have to put them in isolation, it's expensive. It's more expensive than regular boarding. And we have to do it for a while. Anyway, I thought maybe you could touch on that. We give people 3-3-3. Do you want to touch on what that means? How it takes, time for them to decompress and all of that?
Yeah. So there is a lot of people in the animal world know about the 3-3-3 rule. 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. It's going to take a dog time. I remember when I first started working with PJ, she said, a dog coming into a house is like going to a new country. And I am reminded of that all the time because everything's new. Furniture's, placement's new. They're like in a different time zone because the schedule they run at the shelter is completely different from what they're going to be on in the house. I know for myself personally, I feel like it really took about 3 months for my own dog to start showing me her true personality because I was new to her. She was new to me. We were getting into a groove. So it takes time. And, we just want people to be patient, understand that things are going to be scary for that dog in the beginning. Some dogs settle in really easily, but it's not the case for every dog. Getting them out on walks every day, twice a day is going to be super important for their mental stimulation, just to make them tired, just, getting that exercise, getting their sniffs in. And then again, just easing them into a routine and being okay if they have an accident in the house because they didn't know when it was time to go out or they haven't learned where the proper place is to go. Some dogs have never had a bed before, or a toy. All those things are new to a lot of dogs. And I think the biggest thing when we need fosters, we just need to make sure that they're going to understand that they need to be patient. And that routine is so important in setting that dog up for success in a home environment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. I do like my analogy about that going to as if you're visiting a new country because I tell people that when you land in France, I mean, you don't speak the language, you don't know really maybe what the metro schedule is or where to go eat or whatever, and like you're learning all these things. And it takes time. And some people are very patient with you, right? And some people are not, especially if you're in France. But no, I'm just kidding. But I think that's something that's, what you said is really right on. And I remember when I first started fostering Maddie, I had her in a crate for the first few days, but I can't remember why. But I decided to put her in I had a spare bedroom. So I just assumed that she would get on the bed. I forgot I had a small little, Maddie's like was 50 or 60 pounds. And I had a small little bed in there, not for her. I just it was in there for another dog that was no longer in there. And I went to check on her, after she went in there and she had crammed herself into that little bed. She didn't think it was okay to get on the big bed. And it broke my heart. I was like, no. So I told her, no, you can get on the bed. And then she was fine. That was her bed. But yeah, it was super sweet, but, a little sad that, she didn't think she could go on the bed. But I mean, also very respectful too, because she doesn't have accidents or whatever. But, we have a sign. I used to say this all the time because when we were at the events, if a dog pooped, somebody would come. I had a volunteer used to tap me on the shoulder, that dog pooped. I'm like, okay, let me go pick it up. I didn't understand why she couldn't go pick it up. And not that, I know picking up dog poop is not the most fun thing, but still. So we have a sign now that says poop happens. Just pick it up and move on.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that sometimes people are really hard to deal with. It's never for me, the dogs. And I think your point about being patient is huge. I don't like it when a dog has an accident in my house. Who does? But is that the worst thing that's ever going to happen to you in your life? I can tell you it's not the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
Yeah, me neither.
I think, yeah. So I think that is just something like regulate your benchmark there. So anyway.
Another thing it reminded me when you were talking about the crate is crate training. When I'm doing interviews for adopters, I know a lot of people think crates, it's like a cruel thing to put the dog in the crate. And it's the complete opposite. So many dogs love the crate. I mean, there's so many benefits of having the crate. They like it having their own space. They're great for dogs that can't be in the house loose while you're gone. If you have workers come over, if you're having family, friends come over, crates are a great way to keep the dog safe, where you can still entertain if that dog's not ready to be out and socializing yet. Or if you're fostering a dog that needs to be the only dog, you can easily separate them. A lot of people think they can't foster a dog if it has to be the only dog, but it takes a little bit extra work, but it is absolutely possible. And a crate is another way to keep everybody safe.
Yeah. It's funny. I'll tell you, I grew up on a farm and we had 200 acres. So my dogs, they were either in our beds or running around, 200 acres of land. And I remember the first time I ever heard of a crate. I was in Austin's time. It was in the 80s, and this woman I worked with said she put her dog in a crate. And I thought it was the meanest thing I'd ever heard of. I thought, this is terrible. Why would you put your dog in a crate? But I have since learned they are an amazing tool. My dog Tank, who I lost almost a couple of years ago, he would put himself in the crate. He loved his crate. He liked just hanging out there, getting away from the chihuahuas. He just wanted to be in that. So I think, a lot of times people don't realize that dogs are dogs. They're animals, right? They're very primal. And one of the things that wild dogs live, like coyotes, like wolves, they live in dens. And so it mimics that, and it's a very safe place for them. There are those dogs that absolutely do not like a crate. I have a Chihuahua, Nigel, and he freaking hates a crate, never wants to go in a crate. But now he has learned, because the other two will go in their crates and they get a treat. So he'll jump off my bed and go, okay, I'm in the crate. Can I have a treat? So even he's learned that that's a good place. But yeah, crates are good. There's always tools. There's reasons why we use tools. I always tell people that my dogs live better than most humans in this world. So, but they have to mind, right? I have 5 dogs here, so I need them to listen to me and participate the way I need them to participate. And these are the tools that you have to use. But anyway, I think we've kind of bashed that to death. But I think let's go back to Charlotte. We really need a foster. I hope people are listening. And if you can't do it personally, maybe sharing it with friends, family, people from church, people you work with, neighbors, because she really needs a foster. And frankly, we have other dogs that need fosters too. We've got 3 other dogs in boarding. We would just really love to see them get out. And yeah, that's what we need. In fact, we're going to be doing this foster challenge soon with one of the animal networks. And we're looking forward to that and hoping that we'll get some new fosters. All right, Christine, wrap us up on this.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We're enjoying these weekly updates. I feel like we can get more information out. We share the updates on social media. So if you aren't on YouTube or anything like that, you can see the recaps, and we'd just love if you could spread the word about the Little Red Dog and foster-based rescues. So we're always looking for fosters, volunteers, donations. What we do is because of you guys, so we can keep saving dogs as long as we have your support, and we are very grateful for that.
Absolutely. And we're trying to keep these between 10, 15 minutes. We could go on. We have so many more things we want to talk about, but we'll tune in next week and we'll have more. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye.